From the Hotel Indigo Technology Drive along the Mon River, just off the campus of the great University of Pittsburgh near the Hot Metal Bridge. Welcome to the award-winning Pat Narduzzi Show. I'm Larry Richard. Panthers, Chris Bickle, 97 head coach Pat Narduzzi. Coach, good to see you.
Great to see you, too.
We got a little whirlwind going here. We got fly to New York, play in Yankee Stadium, then you come home. We'll be here for the coaches show Monday. Then you got a Thursday home game with Boston College. So you got a lot in the hopper. I don't know how you guys, college or pro, do that turnaround from in your case, Saturday to Thursday.
Yeah, we did it against North Carolina a few years ago, but we kind of come home late Sunday night, and then, Saturday night. We'll get home 11, 12, probably be in our beds at midnight, and then Sunday morning we are back up, and really you don't have even time to close a chapter. We're not going to watch the game as a staff. You have to ignore that. We won't even watch it. We're going to just get right on to the next game. We have no time to do that. So Sunday will be a Tuesday practice. That's crazy.
Yes.
It's nuts.
But this week at Syracuse, rekindling, for those that don't know, Pitt and Syracuse were the first teams to play at Yankee Stadium, first football teams, 100 years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to be a part of something that great. You think about it, was a 3-0 loss for Pitt back in the day, but we're 100 years later, and 100 games later. Should be a fun event there. I know Mosley and everybody with the Pinstripe Bowl puts that thing on. Just great hospitality, great people, and we're looking forward to it.
It's really strange for us because the broadcast facilities are based on baseball, so the broadcast booth is actually in the end zone, which creates a great challenge for Hillgrove and Boston.
You're going to have fun on the sideline.
Oh, yeah. I
you got the normal seat.
I'm good to go. Actually playing in the Bronx, Veterans Day. It's going to be, a lot of fun. You have a team in Syracuse that's had their share of struggles. They lost 5 in a row. They came out kind of smoking hot, ripped off 4 in a row. Then they had Clemson.
And they had the ACC schedule hit.
Yeah, they're 0-5 in the ACC.
Yeah.
Dino Babers very well. He's been there 8 years. You obviously here for 9. And there's always a Pittsburgh connection. This coaching fraternity is pretty amazing because Dino was here once in 2003, right?
No doubt about it. Dino's a good man. Really enjoy spending time with him whenever we get away, whether it's at a media day or ACC meetings down in Amelia Island. He's a funny dude, that's for sure. Great coach.
We'll talk more about Pitt, Syracuse. This will be the 79th meeting. First meeting was in 1916. Hard to believe.
1916.
But this is, since 1955, a protected game, even in the ACC schedule for the future.
That's right. It's going to be one of our protected games, so I haven't really studied that whole schedule thing yet. I'm just worried about that 1-0 each week, but I do know them and Boston College are 2 protected, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So.
We look to E.J. Borghetti. He's kind of like that guy on the sidelines at Jeopardy where you go for the clarifications.
Fact checker right there.
He's seated with Bob Means, fifth-year senior receiver, is going to join us, his coach's special guest today. Hey, let's talk about last week. Florida State, great football team. Your guys played their hearts out.
They really did. They played hard. We left some plays on the field for sure, just like you do every week, that we'd love to have back. But, they don't let you have them back. We'll live and learn, from those opportunities that we missed on and try to make it better the next week.
Yeah, Christian Bayer threw this great pass deep. Kanate Mumfield gets to the one. It looks like he's in. They look at it. The refs, I'll say this, you don't have to. They missed a face mask call, which would have been a game changer. But the ball was fumbled right at the half-yard line, goes into the end zone. So touchback. You didn't get that. But Bub had a big-time catch, man.
Yeah,
that was professional-like in the end zone. But your defense in particular really did a great job, again, against a very good football team.
Yeah, they were on the field for a while, too. You think about, sometimes you look at the yards and you get caught up in that, but when you look at, yards per play and what we did out there, they did a good job stopping the run. And again, they played 4 quarters. Wasn't happy the week before where it felt like there was a let up in the second half because we're not doing good. And But they learned from that and came out and gave 4 quarters worth.
It was frustrating because you had an opportunity with a field goal to tie the game at 17. Who knows what happens? A penalty backs it up, and then next thing you know, they're able to score, so it made it tough to come back.
Yeah, it made it tough against a good football team. You got to make those plays, and you can't hurt yourself with penalties.
We'll have more with Coach Narduzzi from Indigo Hotel here on the south side of the river, right across from the Hot Meadow Bridge. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. And we're at Hotel Indigo with head coach Pat Narduzzi getting ready for Syracuse in Yankee Stadium. Last time you were there, Coach, we were there for the Pinstripe Bowl. And, of course, Syracuse was in the Pinstripe Bowl last year. I'm just curious what you recall about, because in your time, that's the only time you've coached there, right, at Yankee Stadium?
No doubt. Well, it was obviously a great bowl trip there. Like I said, the hospitality at the Pinstripe Bowl was one of the best I've been a part of. You're talking Cotton Bowl, you're talking Rose Bowl, and it was fantastic. But of the game, I remember quarterback going down. I remember James Conner going down the last play of the second quarter, and not having those guys available. I remember them lining up in 2 tight ends. And why do I remember the bad stuff? I remember them lining up 2 tight ends, 2 backs with a tight end with the receiver to the boundary. We had the front kicked wrong, and we ran a blitz into a power play that went a long way. And it was all just structure. And that was something.
Well, looking at Syracuse, they've had their struggles. Let's talk about matching up against them. You've been very successful in your career against Syracuse.
Yeah, I mean, Dino Babers does a great job. I mean, Dino's involved in the offense. You can see, touches of his offense in the whole gang. I think to start off with, just when you think matchups, you think who's going to be the quarterback. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Garrett Schrader has been the starting quarterback. He didn't play last week. Carlos Del Rio Wilson played, and number 16, good athletic quarterback. He actually started. His last start was against us last year at Acrisure Stadium.
That was his first.
That was his first, and then he got a second last week. I think we'll see Schrader in the game. He looked like he was okay on the sideline, but you didn't see a boot on him, or you don't know what the deal is. But then at the end of that, Carlos Del Rio got hurt. He was limping around at the end of that game in the fourth quarter. So I was actually watching that live on Friday night. I think it was on, so we're kind of still waiting. And they're 2 different guys. I mean, they both can scramble, but Garrett's obviously a guy that's played a lot of football and thrown a lot of balls there.
Yeah, Garrett Schrader has 34 career starts, so he's obviously well seasoned. He's been pretty good running the ball. He's had moments where he looks terrific.
Yeah, there's no doubt he can throw it. He can sling it around. Again, we didn't play against him last year. We played against him the year before, so it's been he's a good football player.
And their tailback, LaQuint Allen, he's been good.
Yeah, LaQuint is he's a tailback. You can call him a slash. He's slash receiver. They love to get him the ball out of the backfield. He's really athletic. He's actually went to the same high school as Solomon DeShields. I loved him in high school. He's already committed to Syracuse. I like Dino so much. I felt bad. I didn't want to take him from Dino. But he's a good football player. He's talented.
And the weekend practice after last week's game, guys ready for an opportunity. To be honest, I mean, you played some really incredible football teams, highly ranked in Florida State, Notre Dame. Now you have a chance to, really match up in a different way.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You wish you could have got some confidence early in the year by, maybe, having a little bit easier. But we had, we played some good football teams, and we have nothing to be ashamed of. Our kids went out and battled every week, and we get an opportunity this week. We got 3 guaranteed left. That's it. Period. And it starts with Syracuse. So I think our guys have had a good week. We got to go out and play. It's a totally different team. I mean, they run a 3-3 stack. For our offensive line and for our offense, they got to deal with that. And I think Bub will be okay with his the quarters, and man free. They play back there, so we'll be okay in the back end.
So what is a 3-3 stack?
Here's what they do up front. They line up with 3 down a lot. They'll get some 4 down. But they will junk it up. They're moving every play. Like, you don't know which way they're going, and there's no rhyme and reason. It's not like, okay, if the 3's going this way, so is the defensive end. They go together. Like, it's it almost looks like they tell them, hey, go out there and do what you want to do. Go wherever you want to go. And it's chaos.
You guys got that, Donna? 3-3 stack. Coach is over here drawing me some plays, too. I learned what a tee shoot was and a fight song. These are two different plays. You know what I'm talking about, Bub? A little bit. Anyway, when we come back, we'll be joined by fifth-year senior receiver Bub Means. Let's hear it from Bub. Bub, good to see you here. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. What a play, what a touchdown for Bub Means. Bub is Coach Narduzzi's special guest tonight. He is fifth-year senior from Lovejoy, Georgia, and transferred from Louisiana Tech last year. Bob, good to see you.
Nice to be here.
I was about 20 feet from you on the sidelines watching you catch that. Let's call it just a fade, right?
Yes, sir.
It's up to you to go up and get it. Combat catch, too.
Yes, sir. Had to make a play.
And you've had, 4 touchdowns the last 5 games?
Yes, sir.
So things for you going pretty well.
Yes, sir. Things making the turnaround.
And you looking forward to Syracuse?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's going to be an exciting game.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever been to New York City?
Actually, this is going to be my 3rd time being in New York City ever
What were the other 2 times?
for a football visit. That's it.
Just a visit.
Yes, sir.
Well, you were highly recruited. How'd we snag you from Louisiana Tech?
Me and Coach Underwood, that's my dog, man. But,
I'll tell you what, he is such a great guy.
Yes, sir. He's a great guy, great coach, great role model. He helps me out a lot. But we had a previous relationship back when I was transferring from my first school, Tennessee, and it just didn't work out that way. So this time, you feel me, I got a chance to just link up with him again, and it worked out the way that, you feel me, I got to be able to get coached by him this year.
And what do you love about Pittsburgh?
Oh, Pittsburgh, it's just a great environment, great people here. The weather is a little crazy, it get a little cold out here, but other than that, it's a great city.
Yeah, it's not Lovejoy,
Ooh, it's not
Georgia.
Lovejoy.
Where exactly is Lovejoy in relation to Atlanta?
It's the south side of Atlanta, Clayton County to be exact. If you ever been to the airport there, then you've been to Clayton County.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
You know, a trivia question is, what's Bub's real name? Allison Rubin, she got it here. Of course, I knew E.J. Borghetti would get it, but how'd you get Bub? How'd you get the nickname Bub?
It was just a lifelong nickname, to be honest with you. I had it since I was a baby. I don't know. It's been many stories. I had a really big belly button when I was little, and it looked like a bubble. And so it might have stemmed from there, but you never know. You know, it was so old.
That's tremendous. So who are your guys? Who do you spend a lot of time with on the team?
Malcolm Elps, Addison Copeland, Tay, Day, mostly the receiver guys for real.
Makes sense.
Some of the DBs.
The DBs that can cover you or not cover you?
I don't feel like nobody can cover me. So. But yeah, I like spending time with my guys though. Like off the field, we try to get something to eat or something. Just bring the guys to the house.
How do you gear up for a game? What's your go-to?
I don't know. It's week to week. I don't never try to set nothing in stone. I just go out there and see how I'm feeling. Wear whatever you feel me is comfortable.
And in Pittsburgh, what do you get to do that, you know, when you're off the football field, academics? What do you like to do?
Well, as a receiver group, we call ourselves Waffle House. So I had to find the nearest Waffle House. Even though it's about 30 minutes away, I still try to hit the Waffle House with the guys every once in a while. Just and spend time with my teammates. It ain't nothing much that I try to get into outside of football and family, really.
And you're a communications major?
Yes,
So
sir.
you want my job, basically.
One day.
It's amazing, Coach, how many of the players at some point would
Yeah, I think
like
he's
to
got
do
TV.
that.
I think you're radio. I think he's TV.
Yeah, he's got the $1 million
TV.
smile, doesn't he? Bub Means. So what would you like to do post-football?
One day I do want to be able to like get into some type of announcing or something like that. Like I just want to be able to stay around the game, however I can.
And what about playing on Sundays?
Oh, that's always been a dream of mine and a goal, and I'm always working towards it.
Well, you keep doing what you're doing, and that's going to work out for you.
I appreciate it.
All right, we got more with Bub Means when we come back. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. And we're back with Coach Narduzzi's special guest. He is fifth-year senior wide receiver Bub Means. And, Bub, we've had a chance to talk about, we played Bill Hillgrove's call of your touchdown. By the way, Bill Hillgrove's 50th season doing play-by-play for Pitt football. How about that?
That's a blessing. That's amazing.
Yeah, he's a special guy. His birthday's coming up later this month. He's, I believe, EJ, going to be 83. Sounds right. He's just going with it. So how do you guys, go through the week in practice? Coach was just talking about when we were off air about some of the drills that you go through.
Well, we do a lot of the drills that translate to game. Like in the contested catch that I made this week, we practice at practice. We got a drill called deep ball where we practice contested catches with the DBs against the DBs. It's a competitive drill. So, repetition and repping that during the week translated to the game success.
Yeah, and I know that those guys, in Coach Narduzzi's defense, there's a lot of one-on-one coverage. And obviously when a quarterback sees that, like the fade he threw to you, it's up to you to go up and get the ball or make sure the other guy doesn't get it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We always work that.
How competitive are you with your own DBs?
Oh, it get real competitive out there. I love it. We go at it. You feel me? I feel like we got the best DBs in the nation, so I feel like when I get work against them, you feel me? That's the best work I can get. So we go at it. We compete I work against the best to be the best.
So I noticed that you have 4 brothers, 1 sister. Where are you in the pecking order?
I got right now I only have 2 little brothers, so I'm third youngest. I got a big sister and then another big brother. Those immediate family type.
Do they play sports?
They did when we was younger, but I took all of that. You feel me? Like the athleticism of the group.
Who's the most athletic after you?
Probably my little brother Izzy. He just
So you got
short.
a chance?
Nah, he just a little short. He's over with. He about 5'4".
So Tyler Pelko was a quarterback at Pitt, and he had a brother, Luke, that played. But every time you talk to his dad, who's been a coach, high school locally, he always says, the dad says, the best athlete was his daughter. So Tyler's sister, best athlete in the family.
Wow.
So do you have competition with your brothers for your athleticism at home? Where did you get to play Division I college football?
I played outside a lot, so even my friends influenced that a lot. And I played with my cousins. My cousins, they had a big influence on me. My cousins was really a little older than me, so they when me playing with them, I had to grow up fast. I had to get faster, get stronger to be able to play with them. So probably mostly my cousins and just being outside playing with my friends.
All right, scouting the Syracuse defense. What are you looking forward to Saturday at Yankee Stadium?
I'm just looking forward to executing the plan. We got a good plan going against their defense. We watch a lot of film, and the coach put together a good plan. I'm confident in it, and we just got to go out there and execute what they call.
I like your quarterback's style and attitude. Christian Veyer, he's got some kind of charisma, doesn't he?
Yes, sir. I keep saying this. He got a swag about him that it's just contagious, and they just bring people around him, and he's good. I got a lot of confidence in him.
I remember my father-in-law used to say, there's 2 people in your life that you want with that kind of confidence. One is your quarterback. The other is your surgeon.
Oh.
Right? Right. You don't want a surgeon coming in saying, okay, I think I got this, right?
Right.
Same thing with a quarterback. He's got to come in that game thinking, I got this.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Christian got that. He got it.
Because I saw it on the sideline at Wake Forest, People forget that you guys went down the field and scored. Right? When it looked like, this thing may be over, I'm standing right next to you guys. And he was pumped up. It was fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. He'll never lose a beat. He keep the energy, and he just keep us motivated.
So what do you do when we always ask the guys, what kind of shows do you watch?
What do I watch? Y'all ever heard of this show called Psych? I watch a little. I got a little comedy. You feel me? But I like crime shows, I guess. So it's a show called Psych. And it's a little funny crime show where it's dude doing a private investigator like business, and he go around helping people, and it's just funny how he help people and stuff like that.
Is this Netflix?
It was on Netflix, but I think it's on Hulu right now.
Are you a gamer?
Yeah, I play Call of Duty. Call of Duty drop Friday.
Call of Duty dropping, huh?
Oh yeah.
What's
can't
that mean?
wait.
The new one?
Oh yeah, the new one.
What's that?
Yes,
23
Coach.
or 24?
Nah. I think Modern Warfare 3.
Yes, Coach. Dropping. Yes, you got it. I got it. You're catching on. What about music?
I'm from Atlanta, so I listen to a lot of Atlanta music. But I really listen to some of my like my friends that rap. Like I told you, like growing up, you feel me, in Atlanta, everybody do a little something different. So like a lot of my friends that growing up, they rap, they do a little something. So I listen to them mostly.
Well, good luck Saturday against the Orange. Yankee Stadium. Let's hear it for Bob Main,
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having
wide
me.
receiver. Bob, you got that $1 million smile. Coach is right. Forget about the radio thing. Go straight to TV down the road.
I appreciate it.
When we come back, we'll be joined by Pat Bostic. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. And each and every week, we're joined by former Pitt quarterback Pat Bostic, who is also Senior Associate Athletic Director of Major Gifts at the university. Pat, it's always good to see you.
Good to see you. You're all bundled up today. You got the sweatshirt on.
Yeah, we had the Pitt volleyball team came in the station.
New swag, huh?
Yeah, they.
I like it.
Yeah,
You might need that on the sideline Saturday.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's a good look for you.
It's, by the way, I want to give a shout out to the volleyball team. Dan Fisher, I think he's in his, 11th year?
It might be more than that, yeah.
Maybe.
It was right after 2011, 12 maybe.
11.
How many? 11. I got it right.
Amanda, she does the
she
games.
knows. Amanda Siley King.
She does a great job, by the way.
She brought in, we had, 4 of the girls, and
Are they taller than you?
God, it's so embarrassing. I feel like Hervé
It's
Belichick.
really not. There's nothing to be ashamed of.
Nothing to be
I should
embarrassed.
show you a picture because
Have
we
you seen
took a
these girls
picture.
hit the ball? Have you seen?
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather get hit by, Kalijah Cansey than one of those shots.
Wait a second.
I'm serious. I don't want to get hit in the face. You don't wear a helmet in volleyball.
By the way, they're trying to pack the Pete. They're going to play Louisville Cardinals next Saturday, 1 o'clock. Normally, obviously, they play at Fitzgerald Fieldhouse, but they want to get – and they've had great crowds, sellout crowds.
Oh, yeah.
So hoping to pack the Pete for that. Meanwhile, let's go back last week before we go into your scouting report, Patrick. There were a lot of things to like about last week's performance.
I think the defense has played great. I mean, they really have for 2 weeks in a row. And, I made the analogy late in the game that you almost feel like you're balancing a table on one leg sometimes. And, late in games, eventually there's too much weight on them that you break. And there were plays in the first half that, the offense made that if you don't obviously fumble on the 1 yard line and, if you're able to get those field goals, there's at least 10 to 13 points on the board that were just – they're eliminated by user error, essentially. Penalties, obviously a fumble, and we won't talk about what happened before the fumble. But you put some real pressure then on Florida State if you're in that game and it's 24-17 or 24-14, whatever it might be, and who knows how the game goes from there. And the same thing happened the week before. Your opportunity to score, make it 14-7. So, unfortunately, right now, that just not the answer. The questions being asked by the defense, they're putting pressure on them, but the answer by the offense needs to be more consistent, and that'll have to happen this week again.
Who were some of the standouts from last week's game?
I thought Brandon George played great. I mean, he was downhill, played hard. Solomon DeShields continues to play great. Would have loved to see the Wake Forest game if he was able to play the whole game too. Just what he's been able to do. I mean, he's a guy that 2 years ago didn't have position. I mean, he's playing some wideout.
Yeah, he wanted to be a wideout.
I know, but he?
Oh, he begged to go to wideout, and then finally last year he says, "Coach, I'm going to be a linebacker. Staying there."
He's doing a pretty good job of that.
He is. He's going to be a good player.
Yeah,
Who
and
else?
I thought. Bub's making plays. I mean, Bub had a heck of a catch.
He had 7, right?
He had 7 catches. He's the last 4 games he's had a touchdown in each game and really made some explosive plays. And there's a couple more there that can be made as well. And obviously he had a late fumble, but at that point in time, No, the game was still in the balance. You can't have that happen. But there's positives. There's always positives. It's just you walk away feeling like they're not enough, and that's been the case.
And what about Christian Veer?
There's 3 or 4 throws in that game that I don't think people really appreciate that he makes. I told him that at practice the other day. I said, you can't really say this on the radio or articulate it. And people that, watch a game, the minute the quarterback throws it, they go to the receiver. But he's backpedaling, throwing deep crossing routes across the field, flick of a wrist that are just, you can't. That's talent, and he's got that. It's just the little things, rolling out. You got Kenny Johnson in the flat, and you wait for the comeback. Just give him the ball. Give him the ball, and it's 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5. And the play caller's not in 2nd and 10. And that's where obviously the situational football, you got to have that awareness. He's a young player that's learning. And, it's unfortunately you learn the hard way sometimes, and that's in the middle of the season.
Coach, how do you feel Christian's been each and every week learning?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot on his plate. Every day you walk out there to quarterback, there's a different coverage, there's a different front, there's different pressures coming at him, and he's got to make quick decisions. There's not a whole lot of time back there, but, like Pat said, it's a process, and you got to go through some of these learning curves that he's going through right now. It's going to make him better for the future, and, we're building for the future right now. He looks really good. He's got the talent. He can move in the pocket. He can escape, and he's got a nice arm.
How about your running game?
We got the running game going a little bit last week. That was good to see. Running game against a good football team. We knew it wouldn't be easy. We felt like the Notre Dame front we couldn't really run, so we didn't really have a whole bunch in there. But we felt like we could run it, and we did. Sustain it. Just wish we were on the field a little bit longer to get some more. We're on the field for 25 minutes. That's it. And we wish we would have got more of that run game going and been able to call more plays.
When we come back, we'll get Pat Bostic's scouting report. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. And time for what you need to know about Syracuse and the big matchup. Yankee Stadium Saturday, 3:30 kickoff, by the way. We'll be on the air at 1:30 with our network pregame show. Brought to you by PNC Bank. Make today the day. So, Pat Bostic, this is Coach's favorite segment.
Mm-hmm. He wants me to tell him if I know who the quarterback's going to be for Syracuse, and I don't have that answer. So I'm continuing to poke and prod.
I'm good either
my
way.
Sources.
I'm good.
Maybe,
I really don't need to know.
Maybe we can ask Filipponi.
I've watched enough tape on both of them. I'm good.
So we went through this a few weeks ago.
Went through it last
You
year.
didn't know.
Went through it last year with Schrader and Del Rio Wilson in Pittsburgh. So
Del Rio Wilson got his first start against Pitt last year.
he did, and he was a transfer from Florida, played with Donovan and Dejon Reynolds there. I don't think they do anything totally different with him in the game. Schrader's got better rushing statistics than Del Rio Wilson does, but part of that's just reps. To average 3.5 yards a carry as a quarterback in college football is not too shabby with sack yardage, and they've been sacked quite a bit. But they've had a lot of struggles on offense the same way the Panthers have in terms of injuries up front, inconsistency at the quarterback position, and they've struggled to get the passing game consistently going. But they were off to a 4-0 start, and obviously the last 5 have not gone their way. So they'll be hungry offensively, regardless of who the quarterback is. And I think the one consistency has been LaQuinn Allen, their running back. They are going to get him the ball in a number of different ways. I think he had 7 catches in their bowl game last year in the Pinstripe Bowl. They'll split him out in a 4-man bunch and throw him a screen, and then they'll hand it off inside to him. And the quarterback's a big part of the run game, no matter who it is. So, they test you a number of different ways. New offensive coordinator, and where did he come from? BYU? Is he at BYU? He's from BYU.
He was at BYU, and then they went to Virginia. He was with Virginia for a couple years, and then he went up there with Anai.
Yeah.
Then when Anai left to
Took
go to
over
North Carolina State, he took over as the offensive coordinator. He
it's
was a quarterback coach.
Very similar then in terms of what they do and how they do it.
What about defense? Coach says they run kind of a crazy 3-man stack.
Rocky Long, right? Longtime coach, San Diego State. They're, 3-3 stack with a rover. It's interesting trying to get a beat on it. They move a lot. They'll run a lot of games. They'll play a lot of different coverages. It's one of the challenges, when you watch film throughout the year, is who looks like you and how do they play against teams that look like you. There's not too many that'll line up from 13 personnel all the way to 11 personnel and 10 personnel, and can you get them in favorable matchups and get leverage and attack leverage? So that'll be the game within the game, and see if you can get them a little bit more stagnant, because obviously that helps the quarterback make good decisions. But if you're behind the chains, they throw a lot at you. And, they play aggressively and want to try to disturb you. And it starts with their nose tackle, Darton, who's just a fire plug in there. They're not the biggest up front, but I think they kind of like it that way. They like to muddle things up and confuse you, and you've got to be prepared mentally and physically to deal with that.
So looking at their schedule, looking at their 5 losses in a row, what's been the major issue?
You got to score points to win. I mean, that's the reality of it. They've had single-digit outputs, 10-point outputs. I mean, it is just hard in college football with the way offenses play, the way the game's, paced, the way it's officiated, the way it's called offensively. It's a points-driven game, and they've just been unable to get the passing. When you become one-dimensional, it's really, really hard. And the inconsistency of quarterback, protecting the quarterback, and then relying too much on the run game. I think obviously they haven't been able to keep up with teams they play. There've been a couple lopsided affairs in there. Virginia Tech, obviously being one of them, where they couldn't run the ball at all. They had zero net rushing yards, which I think there were 9 or 10 sacks in that game. So that's obviously skews it. But they've struggled to score and to put points on the board, and they've gotten their own way a lot too.
What I can't remember the field at Yankee Stadium, because obviously
it's grass. It's grass. There's no dirt infield like old Raider Stadium. Where
I couldn't remember whether they.
There's a short corner, right? So if we throw you a fade back there, you might run into the
Right field, right?
right field. Yeah, you might run into the. I remember being back down there in 16 against Northwestern. It was
Right.
heck of a lot colder then than it will be on Saturday.
The field was frozen.
Yeah. So hopefully it's I think it'll be in a little bit better condition, knock on wood, from a temperature standpoint.
So they put grass just for this?
Well,
Yes.
I'm sure they sod the infield. I mean, obviously the
Right.
outfield's grass, but yeah, when they were playing back in Raider Stadium early in the season, right? They used to paint the dirt.
That's why this is a later game. I think we were supposed to play Syracuse earlier in the year, but they backed it up to later in the year just so the Yankees would be done and they could get the field.
Yeah,
So,
everything's different. The one thing and the Yankees do a great job managing all of this. Is the one thing I could think of that would be different, other than us having to call the game from the end zone, which really doesn't matter. Is where do they put the coaches? There's no coaches box in baseball.
Oh, that's a great question.
Where do they put the coaches, and what's their vantage point? Because the angles are completely different. So
it's a great question. I don't remember the coaches whining about it, but I think we're okay.
In the suites?
yeah, you're in a suite, so hopefully there's a good spread in there for them, and
Better not be.
But yeah, you just think of those things and the distance from which, how high are you? I mean, it's a different vantage point from that perspective. Everything else, though, is the same. I mean, you're on the field, it's 53 and a half yards or 53 and a third yards wide, it's 100 yards long, and you go play ball.
Yeah, I would imagine it costs a lot of money to sod this just for a football game.
Well, it's the New York Yankees, and they take a lot of pride in having a diverse product offering for throughout the year. That's a historic venue. I mean, it's a special place. Been there for a baseball game before. That obviously is what they really do, but football there is fun, and I love these kind of neutral site. It breaks the routine up a little bit. Obviously, it's the same throughout the week, but playing in an environment like that, is a great experience for these 100 or so guys that'll make the trip.
I'm guessing Dino Babers would rather have Pitt in the Dome.
Yeah, it'd be nice and cool in the Dome, right? I mean,
Dino would turn the heat up and try to boil us in there.
Remember that one year where
Oh.
they said the air conditioning
it's not
was
like
broken?
coach doesn't sweat or anything, so it's not a big deal.
It was hot up there. I tell you what,
It
there was
was
a couple
hot up
years
there.
that it was just like they were baking us.
I was cold as ice when Ryan Winslow found Matt Galambos in the flat on the fake punt.
That was your first year, Coach, right?
Yeah.
There's been some really good games in this series, and I know that there's been runs. There was the '90s run where it was McNabb and Marvin Harrison, and that whole group where they were really good. Dwight Freeney, I think, spoke to their team last week. But there's been some dandies in the Babers Narduzzi series. The overtime game in 17. Then there was the beauty in 16.
basketball game?
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
There were more points. There were more points. I would bet that that score beat the average point total for Pitt Syracuse in basketball during the Big East span. Because those games were typically like 53-48.
You're not exaggerating.
Both offenses may have scored more points in that one game than we have from really 2016 to
I mean,
2022.
it was crazy. I
Add 'em
mean,
up.
What was the final?
76-61. And what's crazy is, and we could talk about this during the Notre Dame game, I'm looking back thinking, when's the last time, how many points, right? And I'm thinking, you go to 61, we won the game.
I don't know if I've ever told this story. So before the game, I'm telling my wife, hey, we'll have the whole staff over after the game if we get a win. Da, 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 da. Just be prepared, So she's got it all set up. I called her from the locker room after that game. I said, nobody's coming over to the house. We ain't having a party. Like, we ain't having a party. That's no win. Swear. It was the last game of the season. I was like, there's no way we're doing anything. I'm miserable.
This is coming from a defensive coach.
It was literally like a Madden game. It was just shoom, shoom, shoom.
You know what? That day, if you go back, you remember we were playing with we had no DBs left. We were depleted in the secondary. We played a bunch of, just guys that hadn't played a whole bunch. And the coordinator at the time, Josh Conklin, was like, Coach, we can't press these guys. We're going to have to play off. And we played off and got smoked.
Well, they threw a bunch of bubbles. They threw a bunch of bubbles.
They played bubbles, but they arc released, which you're still doing. They still arc released to tackle and get out there. It was a major mistake.
It still seems unreal even now. Really?
It was unreal. And there's just been everything in between in the series. And, I mean, it's crazy that, Pitt and Syracuse played every year since 55. I would have not have guessed that. And it'll continue now moving forward with the three rivalry or protected games in the ACC. And we've got two of them in a row here, Syracuse and BC.
So if you missed the beginning of the show, this is actually the 100th anniversary of the first football game at Yankee Stadium with Pitt and Syracuse.
Were you at that game?
No, but our partner might have been.
No, he wasn't there. He wasn't there. He wasn't even close to being there. But that was a long time ago. 3-0 ball game. 100 years. Yankee Stadium probably looked a little bit different back then.
Yeah, and you go from that one game in 2016, you held Syracuse to 3 field goals last year. Big difference.
Yeah, big difference.
Each year is a new year. Matchups are different. It should be a heck of a football game and two teams that want to get a win.
Let's hear it for Pat Bostic. Pat, we're going to release you on New York City Friday night.
You're going to release me on New York City?
Where are you going? Times Square?
Allison's got all sorts of plans for it. You should be more worried about my partner, Billy, because he basically owns that town. And got R.I.P. Rosie O'Grady's.
He's going to be in New Jersey.
R.I.P.
He's going to be in New Jersey.
I have to tell you, do I have time to tell a story? My first time in New York City was we played Rutgers in 2011. That game did not go well. And Billy goes, we're going to go to the city. And I go, oh, this is great. First time going to the city with Bill Hillgrove. We go to Rosie O'Grady's. Hey, Mr. Hillgrove, how you doing? Here's your seat. It's in New York. I mean, that's where we go for the Big East. And, it's about 10 o'clock, 10:30. I'm like, I want to get back. I mean, we're staying outside of Piscataway. I don't want to be here right now. Hey, Billy, you want to leave? He goes, Pat, it's a 3:30 kick. We didn't get home till 1.
Pat Bostic. All right, Patrick, we'll see you on the Charter Friday. Final thoughts, Coach Narduzzi, when we come back, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. Final thoughts with Panthers head coach Pat Narduzzi. Coach, great opportunity on the road, New York City, Syracuse at Yankee Stadium.
Hey, let's get after it. It should be a great game. Two good football teams battling out, looking for a W. So we're excited and can't wait to get there.
Good luck against the Orange.
Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it.
And we'll be on the air at 1:30 with our pregame, 3:30 kickoff. And we want to thank our executive producer, PJ Kamanchik, Amanda Siley King, producing here at the Pete, Charlie Borges back at Master Control, Paul Bardo and his team, and also special thanks, as always, to Executive Associate Athletic Director, Media Relations, E.J. Borghetti, our own superstar. Thanks for keeping us straight all the time. You've been listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund. We want to thank Hotel Indigo. This is the Pitt Panthers Radio Network.